We have the pleasure of being joined today by Tom Esposito. Tom serves as the VP of Product Management here at Bonterra, where he leads the case management product team, helping bring our transformative vision to life. Tom is a self-proclaimed tech enthusiast with over 15 years of experience across both product and engineering. His expertise spans diverse sectors, including health, energy, and automotive, where his contributions range from Fortune 100 corporations to venture-backed startups. Tom holds a BS in Computer Information Systems from Illinois State University, and he currently resides in Chicago, Illinois, with his wife and adopted Akita Terrier Rescue. So thank you so much, Tom, for your time this afternoon, and I want to go ahead and pass it to you. And thanks, folks, for filling out that poll here.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. And thank you, everybody, for joining. It's so great to be able to get a chance to chat with you all again. Hopefully, you've had the chance to join us on other previous webinars. If not, what I want to make sure to walk through today is exactly what Ashley mentioned. We're going to be going through a little bit of the vision, strategy behind everything we're doing in impact management. We're going to focus primarily on our Apricot product, where I know that is where the majority of you all are going to be most interested in thinking through, how this aligns into what you're doing within your specific agencies, your communities, everything that you're building within the space. So really happy to get a chance to join you all. But before we jump into all of that, I want to start with just kind of the vision and breakdown within Bonterra. So hopefully, from what Ashley mentioned on all of the companies that have come together to form Bonterra, whether it's from our fundraising engagement, our corporate social responsibility, our case management, to build in each of these different areas. We've brought together just a ton of knowledge, insight, experience, and history across the entire social good ecosystem. You could see what Bonterra has from as we formed now across the number of employees, customers, the Fortune 500, corporations and funders, the various products, and of course, nonprofits that are all part of our ecosystem, part of our connected network, and essentially what we're trying to do to help drive the social good space forward. And when we think about the social good space, it's important for us to think about what is it that Bonterra, yes, can provide in terms of the tooling that we offer within the space, but of course, what we can be able to drive across the ecosystem. And so when we look at the social good ecosystem in general, what we see is that we are seeing a existential problem within giving across the United States. What we mean by that is that while our GDP continues to grow, while we continue to grow as just as a nation, the amount of giving, the amount of philanthropy that is happening has stayed relatively static. What we mean by that is, as we look year over year since the early 80s, we are seeing that the percent of GDP that giving represents is only about 2.5%. We see this as being a struggle year after year and decade after decade as organizations continue to look for ways that they can make a change, make impact, continue to drive the services and drive really the change within communities that we all want to be able to see. Where we see this challenge is because of a vicious cycle of declining trust. What we mean by that is there's a ton of overhead within each of these organizations, within each of these agencies, within everybody that's trying to make change. And we're seeing just that challenge of efficiency, of constantly trying to make sure that we can deliver the right services, make sure that we can drive that change. There's also, as we're trying to drive that change, unclear impact that's happening, meaning the ability to properly measure, the ability to properly share, the ability to properly communicate what is happening within these programs, within these services, so that way we can clearly show that change that's happening and get to kind of that the change that we want to see within our communities. Those are the questions that are asked when we talk about from a supporter or from individuals on what happens to the time or the resources, the money that I'm giving, making sure that I'm seeing it go towards these spaces. When we look on the other side, we are seeing a lot of disjointed relationships happening. I know that we're getting better at this in terms of working within our communities and working across the various nonprofits to be able to connect those dots, but there's still kind of this transit relationship with those that are receiving services, with those that are providing funding, with those that are kind of seeing these things happen. We want to be able to help be a part of this, as well as the visibility. So kind of just the way to be able to find the causes that I care about most and all of those areas, which is how I should give my time and resources. Where our vision leads us is to turn that vicious cycle into a virtuous cycle. We want to improve efficiency across our products and across the programs and services that organizations are providing. We want to make sure that we can provide clear and measurable impact of what the programs and services are providing. We want to make sure that that turns into the ability to provide more visibility into the good that's happening, into all of the effort that's happening, and turn that into lasting relationships with those that are receiving services because they're feeling the outcome of those programs, those that are funding the services, and of course, the community change that's happening because of the services that we are providing. All of this is in service to our vision. As we think about the way that the world is today within the social good ecosystem, there are a number of solutions that are focused on corporate social responsibility that just works with social good organizations and funders, or impact management, like we're going to talk about today, that's focused on the participants related to the agencies and organizations that they work with, or of course, fundraising engagement, which is just those that are individual supporters and working with in the social good organizations. Our vision for Bonterra is to create that connected ecosystem, to be able to turn tomorrow into a world where funders, participants, supporters, social good organizations, the agencies, everybody can create a more cohesive view within this ecosystem to be able to drive that change, be able to turn that virtuous cycle, and be able to take us not just from a world where we are stuck within the 2.5% of GDP, but to our vision at Bonterra to get to 3% of GDP by the year of 2033. We believe this is going to happen through our ability to build trust, to our ability within our tooling set to drive and accelerate that impact. And of course, with that, to be able to help drive some of that giving that's happening within this space. So with that, we have a broad view across the social good ecosystem where we see can take us to the greatest good. Now, I know that you all are here to talk through what we're doing at Bonterra, but more specifically, what we can do with an impact management. So what I'm going to go through now is how that vision for Bonterra connects to our vision for impact management. How what we're doing in impact management is going to help take the services that are being provided, the programs within the agencies that you all are a part of and wanting to drive that change within your community, how that turns into results that can help turn not just the flywheel for what's happening within your individual agencies, but hopefully for what's happening in your community, where we can make sure that the change that can happen within that community can be shared across nonprofits and public sector and all of the agencies that we know are turning what has traditionally been what I call a single player into this multiplayer, this connected world of organizations that can work together. Before we dive into that, I'm going to share just a little bit more about what I mean by the challenges that we're seeing in impact management. I'm definitely interested in how these relate, or how you all feel that these connect into what you are seeing within your individual organizations today. So when I think about impact management, and I think about the tool sets that we have, I see social good organizations, social good programs, and agencies within the public sector space that are also running programs are under increasing pressure to make sure that you all are able to boost your individual program efficiency and make sure that that is proving the outcomes that you are looking to drive. The way we see this is when it comes to increasing efficiency, we know that there is just increase in demand in programs. We're seeing that across social good programs, whether those are public sector funded or nonprofit based, of even more need within communities to have these services and to provide these services. Now, that has come with zero change in average team size. We are not seeing the teams, the organizations, the support groups that are part of this growing in size while we're still trying to hit that same demand. There is a challenge with efficiency in that space. At that same time, we know that both funders, whether it's for essentially for true grant funding or for compliance-based funding, there's an even greater need or an even greater demand to be able to prove your outcomes. So not only are you challenged by trying to make sure that you have the staff and the ability to provide the services, you need to make sure that you're thinking about how are you measuring the services toward that change, toward the impact that you're trying to provide. And we see that 3/4 of organizations, consider impact and measuring impact a top priority, but only about 1/5 of those today have the ability or feel confident in their ability to measure that impact. Those are areas that we want to be able to see direct change. Now, when we talk about what this looks like in the public sector world, we're seeing this even more so, but not just from that same need of driving efficiency and that same need of proving outcomes. But we also see that the tool set that many public sector agencies are using today are just increasingly inefficient. They are challenged with age, they're challenged with growing towards the needs, and they're challenged with the ability to scale that you all need to be able to show the effective change that you can make within your communities, within your agencies, and be able to, show where you all want to be able to drive your individual programs. So where we're seeing is, almost 100%, 90% of agencies that we spoke to, believe that they would be able to benefit from just some modernizing in technology. We're at a space today within what we offer within software and technology that we should be beyond many of the tools that we're using. We want to make sure we can see that happen. Although unfortunately, while we know that many of those agencies we talk to want to see that modernized, very few see that as a priority. We know that there's budget, there's challenge, there's ways that make that difficult. But however, those outdated systems are becoming even more cumbersome. So again, nearly that 90%, 88% of these agencies we're talking to are seeing that the age, the complexity, the challenge with their system that's not comparing to what they're used to in all other tool set is just becoming more cumbersome to be able to deal with, to be able to roll that out to their individual staff, and to be able to properly manage their programs. And with that cumbersome, that challenge, that outdated is making it more complex than ever to be able to connect in the data that they need, that you all need to be able to prove and show the outcome that your programs are generating, to be able to see that you're creating that increased efficiency, and to be able to essentially report on and prove, each of these aspects. So I'm interested, as you all are thinking about this, how this resonates with you all in terms of, what you're seeing within your organizations. The last place that we think about in terms of the challenge that we're seeing is that as we're connecting in the efficiency, the outcomes, and the cumbersome nature of many of the tool sets today, we also know that organizations are becoming even more challenged by trying to work within silos, by not extending their reach within their communities. From the public sector perspective, there's the opportunity to be able to work with other agencies or within the nonprofits within your community, even more so. And when we talk about what Bonterra has to offer in terms of just our breadth of knowledge and experience and organizations across this ecosystem, we know what it can take to be able to bring in the proper network in this space. So we're seeing that as organizations are becoming or are essentially isolated or more isolated from an integrated support network, just that ability to create and show impact becomes even more of a challenge. And it can often create more harm than good. So essentially, organizations that become afraid of sharing metrics or don't even know where to start, or their focus might be on what is easy to measure but potentially less important, and it's difficult to make sure that you're not just focusing on those short-term results, the outputs, and the activities, but focused on truly capturing those outcomes. We do think that there's the potential for a network to help reinforce that collaboration, to be able to share best practices and be able to get to more of a long-term impact-driven thinking. And we are convinced that there's more efficiency and better measurement that can happen from connecting not just the tool sets, but also the network that can come with it, that network of whether it's data or best practices or just essentially the support that happens within an overall community. So that's why when we talk about the Bonterra vision, our vision is to become the Peloton of program impact. What I mean by this is that Peloton did not just create a better exercise bike. When you think about what Peloton as home fitness equipment did, they changed the home fitness industry. They combined the incredible exercise equipment, which is their bike, with the ability to track and measure your success, and the ability to connect you to a network of coaches and riders like you to be able to motivate you and support you to reach your fitness goals. So we think about what that means in terms of Bonterra, what we're doing with our impact management vision. We are becoming the Peloton of program impact. We are not just focused on creating a great exercise bike. We are building the case management tool set for the future. We already know that we've got an industry leading set of case management tools. We are building on those even more so to take us to the forefront, to be able to leverage what organizations like yourself can be able to measure and use and be able to build on for your programs. However, like Peloton, we are not just trying to build an incrementally better case management tool. We are building the only solution that can bring together case management and impact measurement and a network of best practices that can support everything that you want to be able to build within the same solution. What we want to make sure that we're doing is we are building this by creating an intuitive and powerful service delivery software. That's Apricot. That's our case management tool set in this space that can empower programs and service delivery experts like yourselves to be able to better achieve the goals of your programs. And we want to make sure that we're creating the most trusted best practice library connected with the network of coaches and best practice and help and support within the network that can help you complete and show your progress along your programs. We want to make sure that this is helping you better track and faster track each of your programs with more confidence, and ultimately making sure that you're able to more easily demonstrate the impact that your programs are having to your agency, to your community, and across the network of nonprofits that we know that you're working with. Those are all areas we want to make sure that we are connecting with our long-term vision within Bonterra and what we're building within impact management. For us to be able to get there, I do want to break these down into what are what we are focused on to bring us to this point. And each of these will be themes that you're going to see within our roadmap. So first, what we are focused on is, as we talked about, building that great experience, focused on efficiency, focused on everything that you have to make sure to leverage our amazing case management tool set. We want to make sure that our software can help you better increase your program capacity. We want to make sure that you are able to catch up with everything that you have going on within your programs, and that the tool will make sure that it can help you along the way. This is why we're building into our tools the ability to help you increase your capacity, and why we believe that's so critical, and why we believe that this case management foundation is how we can be able to build toward that long-term goal. So we want to do that with more standardized program functionality. We want to make sure that we are enabling organizations to not just take where you know that you want to have more control and flexibility. Don't worry, we're not getting rid of any of that. We know that Apricot is amazing for the flexibility in form and reporting that it offers today. But we do want to make sure that as we're seeing more customers that are building the same forms or same reports over and over again, that you're not spending your time doing that. We want to make sure that we're creating those that library of best practices that you can go ahead and use to get started. We also make sure that we're going to continue building on all the automation functionality that you all love, whether that is our notifications, our workflows, and everything that we're able to make sure that that is much easier for your organizations. And of course, when we think about direct participant to caseworker connection or to service worker, what we want to make sure of is you're not spending all of your time trying to track down those individuals that you have connected into your programs. We want to make sure that you're able to leverage our Connect participant portal, our tools that can help you keep your participants even more engaged. Next, we want to make sure that we're focused on how you can better measure your program's impact. Just like I mentioned, it is so important to make sure that you are thinking about how you're measuring the impact that you're creating within your communities. We are also building on our program enrollments and exit functionality. We're building on all of our feature set that can help you better measure your individual program's efficiency and effectiveness. So that way you can better understand and better share what is happening within your programs and be able to show the impact of your hard work. So that way you can show that again to your individual agency and your community. And lastly, if you're able to measure it and you can improve it, that's why through our expansive network of like-minded social good organizations, of public sector organizations, of everybody that we have across this ecosystem, we want to make sure that we are building in the functionality to help you better share that impact, to be able to better collect what data you need to be able to show that impact and be able to communicate that effectively, whether that is through your community or where you need to be able to share that. Okay, that is everything that aligns up to our Bonterra vision, how that connects our Bonterra vision to our impact management vision, and where we are going, where we want to see our impact management tool set take us into the future. What I'm going to focus on next is some of our recently released functionality that we have within Apricot, so that way you can be able to see some of the new tool set. And like I mentioned, I'm going to focus just on Apricot in this in this view, so that way you can see how this is going to align into your public sector world. So as I drive into recently released, what I'm going to focus on first is increasing program capacity. So as I mentioned, this is an area of extreme focus for us. We want to make sure that we are driving program capacity with everything that we're building. We've got such amazing tools and functionality that we have been building into Apricot to be able to make this possible over time, but even more so in this last quarter. So what we are building right now, or what has just released, is our inventory management tool set. So you probably have seen some of our inventory management tools that have made it live into the system. This is such an amazing unlock for organizations and for agencies that want to track anything, right? It can be used if you are, if you are working within COCs or bed management or anything that can help you better track, anything with beds and housing. But because Apricot is so flexible, because we focus on the ability to control the system, we have flexibility within this tool set. You can think about it as how you can track even more functionality within, maybe it's inventory for aging equipment, such as durable medical equipment or shower bars or staircase assistant, right? Or maybe it's, being able to help within McV programs and helping give family car seats or teach them how to install them, or anything along your program that you can think of that you can track with an inventory. That's something that we can start to bring in and connect that into the programs that you are driving. Additionally, we know that many organizations and many agencies need to make sure that your security is at the top level of security compliance. We care about that too. We care so much about making sure that everything is as secure as possible. We have single sign-on available within Apricot today, but we have been continuing to make it better. We are making it even more, or we have just released a new feature that makes it even easier to improve how you connect to our single sign-on functionality. So that way you can not only connect to your authentication source, but also be able to better select who within your organization you need to be able to go through single sign-on, as well as if you have situations where you have an individual who needs to remain outside of single sign-on. We know that we've heard some of those examples, but we have even more control and lockdown and explicit decisions that can be made as you are thinking about how you're connecting in single sign-on to your organization. And then lastly, when we think about everything that we're building within Apricot for increasing program capacity, what matters most is that the system is stable, secure, and performant. This is an area that I like to say that you probably haven't seen much change, but you should feel it. And this is an area that, as you consider Apricot and what it can do for agencies of really any size, we are continuing to build in all of the updates across the system that enable us to get to that scale across agencies, whether you're in the community, the city, the national level, and how we can start to be able to make sure that the system is stable, secure, and performant across each of these places. The security and some of these updates, I'm going to go into a little bit further into what this means into our future, but just know that we are very, very focused on making sure that we are bringing all of that into our impact management system. But as I talk about inventory management, I want to go one level deeper here as we talk through what is possible with inventory management. So we are so excited about this feature being released. We're so excited about the potential we're seeing. We're so excited about all of the organizations that we're already seeing start to adopt this across Apricot 360, across our enterprise level of Apricot and impact management. We are seeing organizations that are leveraging this, like I mentioned, for bed management, whether it's building inventory for beds or within aging, being able to build your inventory of goods that you can either assume are tracked, whether it's IT support or other goods that you want to be able to track within the system, and connecting them into who are those individuals that are receiving those services that you have that tied to, whether it's an individual that's receiving a bed for the night, individual that's receiving a car seat, or an individual who's renting or temporarily utilizing some IT equipment. You can be able to track that alongside your programs. And of course, being able to track and report, being able to see who is leveraging, who is taking advantage of, and who is being able to gain the most benefit from that inventory. Next, as we think about how we're going from increasing program capacity to measuring program impact, as we talked about with inventory, just how critical it is that we are not just collecting the information, but being able to measure it as well. We know the reason why agencies and organizations like yourself want to be able to leverage our impact management toolset is not just to be able to put information in, but to be able to understand what that means for your organization, to be able to understand how that affects your programs and how that affects the change that you are creating. So we have created an interactive inventory dashboard to make that even easier for inventory management tool set. What that means is that you can see quick at-a-glance stats for where your inventory is, who's been checking it out, what's still available, what are each of the individual areas that you want to be able to see those quick at-a-glance updates that can help your organization make better decisions within your programs. Not just that, if we think about how we're measuring program impact, and we talk about what we offer for participants, or what we offer in terms of being able to collect information from within your community, intake is critically important on that front, being able to pull in intake information from your individual participants. We've made that even easier with some improved form updates that are going to help improve just your participants be able to submit, make it even easier for them, so that way you can collect that data and be measuring that inbound interest from those intake forms from your network. And then lastly, when it comes to measuring program impact, we know that many organizations, many agencies are thinking about bed management, are reporting to HUD in terms of their HMIS reporting. And that's where we have updated our system to make sure that we are taking advantage of the latest 2024 HMIS data standards. That is all already available within Apricot today. All of that is very possible within the system. If you have questions, make sure that you're reaching out to your individual account executives or customer success managers that can help you to explore some of these features that have already been released that you want to be able to take advantage of. Now, next, what I'm going to share is what I know that you all are very excited on, is what are some of our upcoming roadmap items, very much so focused on what we're building inside of Apricot, very much so focused on what we're doing, for agencies like yourself within the public sector. And like I mentioned at the start, some of the things that we are doing, that we have been building, that we have already been releasing, will help lead towards some of this vision on where we're going. Before I go there, though, I do want to make sure to call out that everything that we're sharing is currently in flight. There are things that we see as on our roadmap today. I do want to call out that roadmaps can change, so be mindful of that. But we are focused in this path. So first thing I want to call out is, as you think about what we are building from our security and enhancements, I'm proud to announce that Apricot is coming to AWS GovCloud. This is an area that we want to make sure that we are providing security that meets the highest level of security and compliance across the US, taking advantage of where AWS is extremely strong and leads the market in terms of their GovCloud services and their GovCloud security. So what we are doing is we are bringing Apricot to GovCloud for public sector organizations, public sector and federal agencies that need the utmost security and want to be able to leverage everything that Apricot can offer within that environment. This is a space that is going to be very exciting for organizations that know that you need to be taking advantage of where you want to be able to connect with more federal agencies, where you want to be able to be thinking about how this helps drive what your agency needs within your individual goals, your security needs, and everything that we can be able to provide in terms of what Apricot can offer for organizations and agencies like yourself. We're very excited to be able to say that this is an area that we are continuing to build and expect to see more of this throughout this year. I would expect that we're going to continue to share more and more information as we're continuing to drive Apricot toward AWS GovCloud. Next, as we're thinking about increasing program capacity, we know that agencies also need to be able to not just submit forms, but be able to take the time to be able to add updates, to be able to pause, to be able to come back and be able to pick up where they left off. This is an area that Apricot has been focused on how we're building in our ability to add drafts into forms. It's not just being able to create forms, being able to pause, be able to come back, be able to edit and save, and ultimately help to improve the overall life cycle of your caseworkers, of the individuals that are working throughout your programs. And lastly, as we talk about increasing program capacity, how important it is to work with the participants, those that are receiving services through your programs. We know that also tracking attendance is critically important. Our attendance module has continued to see enhancements, and we are going to continue that in this quarter as well. We're going to, or this half as well. We're going to continue focused on everything that we are building into our attendance module to make sure that you can get that even faster and make sure that that is increasing your caseworker efficiency. Next, as we think about measuring program impact, what this means, we are continuing to build on our program enrollment functionality that we have released previously inside of Apricot, everything that we're building to make sure that enrollments can be even easier. We want to make sure that it's easy to get into program enrollments. We also want to make sure it's easy to manage and be able to control and view and essentially look at everything that you are operating throughout your programs. So we are streamlining the enrollment process. We're making sure that you can better connect in your forms and everything that you need to be able to better measure your programs. That way you can better measure your program impact. This is critically important in terms of how we're continuing to drive programs within impact management. And then lastly, you can measure it, you can improve it. We want to make sure that we are focused on how you are not just measuring the activities and the outputs within your programs. We want to make sure that you are driving to true impact. And through that, we want to make sure that we are continuing to build on your ability to bring in data, to connect data from what you need within your programs to be able to show that change, but also making sure that you can report on it. So as we mentioned, the throughput of inventory is now available. We do have inventory dashboards available for those quick at a glance insights. We also are bringing inventory data to results reporting. Results reporting is our most powerful reporting platform, the ability to create reports for really any agency's needs. We are making sure that we are bringing in our inventory data to be able to measure and view and look at inventory data within our powerful reporting platform. Very excited to see how agencies like yourselves are going to start leveraging this to be able to create reports even beyond what we had considered within our dashboards. We want to be able to see agencies, take advantage of this and build in the reporting, build in the knowledge, the insights, the information that are going to help you drive even more impact within your programs. And lastly, some of the API improvements that we are focused on within our systems, we are making sure that we are making it even easier to be able to integrate with other systems. We know that agencies like yourselves likely need to integrate with whether it's third-party outside systems or other government systems or other agencies like yourself, that you want to be able to bring in data and combine that into your overall view within your program. We want to make sure that we can leverage the Impact Management API to make that even easier, provide more of that breadth and depth of data that you all need to be able to create that full and complete picture across your programs. So those are all of the things that we are building right now into this second half as we're thinking about everything that's happening within impact management and all of the change that we can be able to create, everything that we can help provide and offer to agencies, to organizations like yourself to help drive and spearhead even more of the efficiency that we know and capacity that we all know you need within your programs to make sure that you're able to measure your program impact and, of course, help you along that road to improving program impact. So with that, we go ahead and open up to see if there are any questions.
Yeah, awesome, Tom. Thank you so much for this presentation. This was really wonderful. I know I'm excited for AWS GloveCloud. That's a big deal. We're excited here at Bonterra, and I'm sure folks are excited as well. Perfect. While we wait for some questions to kind of trickle in here, wanted to present another poll here for folks. If you are curious to learn more about some of our tools and how they align with the vision that was presented, or if you think your question might be better suited for a one-on-one conversation, please feel free to go ahead and fill out this poll that just launched here. And yeah, we'll wait for some questions to come through. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, Tom, it looks like we did have a question come through. They asked, what do you mean by the network part of the Peloton vision? Sounds very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I love that question, right? Like I mentioned, we've got such a great, network of organizations that are already taking advantage of Bonterra products, and especially organizations that are taking advantage of impact management products. What we want to be able to do is help connect agencies with other agencies, whether that means if you want to be able to, let's say, work within your individual communities and be able to work with nonprofit partners or other public sector agencies that want to be able to help roll up or share some of that data so that way you can, or some of that impact data so that way you can see a more holistic view. That is an area that we've heard a lot of interest. That's something that we're curious to be able to see where that is, where we get more of that interest over time. But what we want to be able to do is take some of just the best practice, the learning, everything that we're hearing across agencies to make sure that that we can help organizations get even better at really delivering their programs. So whether that means helping agencies see, maybe what forms are being collected, or what elements within forms, or what are some of the evidence-based models that can be better utilized. We want to make sure that that is taken advantage of. And of course, we know that this is a connected experience within, real life. We want to make sure that we can help model that within our software. So there's some things that are available today. There's a lot that we're thinking about in terms of our long-term vision. I'm definitely excited to hear more of these ideas from organizations and agencies like yourselves as you think about how you want to be able to leverage our tool set to better take advantage of our network.
Yeah. Awesome. We actually had another question come in from Mia, who asked, we are asked by funders and board members about more efficiency and specifically about integrations. Mia is curious to know what you guys have in store for integrations for the rest of the year.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that question. I think that's great. So as you heard in that improved program impact slide on our upcoming roadmap, we are thinking about more integrations. We are enhancing our API today to make that easier for organizations like yourself, leveraging technology partners or working with Bonterra on how we can help better connect in where that's possible to integrate with systems. So again, whether that be with another agency or with a government data system. There are a number of examples that we see here across organizations, across agencies, on potentials to connect systems, whether that means being able to help with referring participants from another system or program, or you can kind of name a number of potential examples here. We want to make that even more possible. So we are right now focused on how are we improving our API capabilities, and definitely excited for what that means in terms of our ability to better integrate across systems and across what our agencies really need to be able to drive that efficiency.
Perfect. And Stephen asked, can I customize program enrollments or inventory?
Yeah, Stephen, great question. Yes, absolutely. One of the superpowers of what we do in impact management, especially within Apricot, is the ability to really configure the experience for what works best for your organization, for your agency. And so while we want to make sure that those are always driving towards the purpose of collecting and measuring the impact of your program, we want to make sure that there's the ability to create that customization that you need. When we talk about inventory, like I mentioned, it's yes, you can use it to track beds, you can use it to track equipment, you can use it to to track things that you're essentially handing out or things that you expect to check in and out, right? Whether that's IT equipment or, like I mentioned, some of those other types of equipment. And so because of that, we have built inventory to be extremely flexible and extremely configurable to allow for you to be able to really track what you need that makes sense for your program. And the same thing with program enrollments. Well, we want to make sure that you're able to really clearly track that you are enrolling somebody in a program. We want to make sure that along that path, you are thinking about what is important for that program. What are the goals? What are some of the aspects that make that program successful? Making sure that you can better configure that with your tier 1 and tier 2 forms that you already love within Apricot.
Awesome. Great question, Stephen. And then we have another question from Amanda here. Amanda asked, draft sounds really interesting and would really affect her service staff. Can we get a sneak peek or even just a way in.
Oh man, I love it. I wish that was the case that we can get you in today. This is something that we are focused on building. But with that, we're always interested in if there's an opportunity to talk directly to customers who are super, super interested in some of these new features that we're building or some of these new capabilities that we're building into the system. And we would absolutely love to be able to set up time to maybe even talk and get some of your feedback up front. And if there's an opportunity in the future, be able to even get early access. We love to be able to hear that from customers. What I would recommend is please reach out to your account executive or your customer success manager. They would be the best individuals to be able to put you in touch with our team and be able to hear some of those interests and be able to see if there's something that we can help connect you, or what we would love is to be able to hear your feedback very directly on some of these amazing features that we are working on and building in the future that helps us better drive that direction.
Yeah, Amanda, and what I will say is we can definitely have one of our colleagues reach out to you after today's session and kind of get that conversation started. But yeah, thanks, Tom. It looks like we don't have any other additional outstanding questions. So we'll give folks a couple of seconds here to throw in their last minute questions. But thank you again so much for this presentation. It was a pleasure to have you this afternoon, Tom. And thank you everyone for your engagement this afternoon and your time. We really appreciate it. And we definitely hope to see you at our next session. So if there's not any additional outstanding questions, which I don't think there are, yeah, we want to leave you with that. And thank you guys again for your time.
Perfect. Thank you, Ashley. And thank you, everybody, for joining on. I do want to call out one more plug, which is if there's anything that that would be amazing to be able to see for your organization that you did not see here today, we do have an ideas portal within the system. Again, share with your account manager, share with your customer success manager, or make sure to input that into our ideas portal. Our team looks at that on a very regular basis. We love to be able to see new ideas that can help drive your organization into the future. So thank you very much. Really appreciate the time. Really appreciate being able to chat and share all of this with you all. And really looking forward to the next time we get to be able to connect.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. You guys have a great rest of your afternoon, everyone. Thank you.